What's up, all you miraculous people out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din. I'm here with you to bring you the finale for Season 3, titled The Battle of the Miraculous, Part 1, Heart Hunter. And so, let's jump into this incredibly, just fast-paced episode. So, we open with this narration by Marinette that is very powerful. It talks about loss, how everyone experiences that, and that's a part of life. Some people lose their first love, like Master Fu. Some people lose harmony in the relationship, much like Andre and Audrey. Their relationship, oof, I'm surprised they haven't had a divorce at this point. Other people end up losing hope, much like Chloe Bourgeois and her hope of ever becoming a superhero again, which is a very decisive kind of situation, as this is a situation that she brought upon herself. And the fact that, despite her growth over the course of the series, that she still doesn't understand why Ladybug chooses not to do this. It says a lot about her character. But other types of loss are a loss in patience, much like Cat Noir, slowly losing his patience in hopefully having a relationship with Ladybug. But Ladybug turns him down over the fact that previously she had seen what a love story between the two of them would end up being. And I love this continuity is playing a big part in this episode, and I really appreciate that because it goes to show that, skipping over episodes might lead you to not really getting the full picture of the series as a whole. Another type of loss that we see is loss in their soul, much like how, um, you know, Ad- Adrian's dad has just completely lost all hope in pretty much everything. Gabriel is just giving himself over to evil for the most part, and lost in their certainties. Maybe he's not as certain into what he's doing because of the fact that it's really starting to affect Natalie's health as it goes on. It's destroying her from the inside out. It really does, go to show that people with nothing left to lose are the most dangerous of them all. As we see that for the first time, it's really being brought to the forefront. Marinette might be considering Luca rather than Adrian, and Adrian might be considering Kagami over Ladybug. So, in a moment where she's about to go and basically deliver some pastries to her family because they're at an event that the bourgeois are setting up. She ends up running into Luca, who has come up with this melody for Marinette to basically woo her, and it's a very beautiful melody. He even gives her a ride on his bike that he does deliveries on, and for everything that he's done, she even gives him a kiss. Mmm, shippers beware. So we see that there's this celebration is for, I think it was the anniversary of the bourgeois couple, and we even see that um, Gabriel has given them this really gaudy looking cloak of love, and Audrey is just raging against this because she's just so angry and pissy with her husband. Every little thing is just setting her off, and I feel so bad for Adrian, for Andre, because he's trying his best. He is trying his damnedest just to be nice about everything, but it is not going over well. Meanwhile, Marinette runs into both Adrian and Kagame, who are doing their best to get away from, well, Adrian's bodyguard and Kagame's overbearing mother. Meanwhile, with all this tension in the air, it's the perfect time for Hawkmoth to make an appearance. So as Marinette notices Kagami and Adrian just playing around, just being kids in the kitchen, she starts to notice that they really seem to have a close connection. And she even does her best to hide them from Adrian's bodyguard. And they even ask her to escape with them, being a little Metal Gear Solid, though. Oof, they did not stop when the bodyguard turned around. Immediate capture. Game over. So we also see that Natalie sabotages Chloe's B signal, or whatever she calls it, in this big plan. So as Kagami, Adrian, and Marinette make their way to the roof and hide out in the ball pit that they have up top, oh, fucking adult ball pit. What's going on there? But they hide in there and they start playing around and having fun. Meanwhile, Natalie reports back to Hawkmoth so that he can engage in his ultimate plan, the battle for the Miraculous. And so, as the bourgeois couple fight comes to a head, Hawkmoth naturally sends out one of his Akuma to Akumatize them. Meanwhile, while they were playing around, Marinette got her hair let down, and Kagami and Adrian comment on how beautiful her hair looks. They have this nice little moment. In comes the bodyguard, but they manage to escape him yet again, thanks to Marinette. So, as the bourgeois couple ends up being akumatized into the Heart Hunter, a unified being, they start to rampage and capture anyone who has love in their heart, even going after their own daughter Chloe because she loves herself. Of course, of course. But Chloe manages to escape, showing Natalie that their plan is fully in motion. So she transforms into Myura, and she notices that Chloe noticed that the signal has been sabotaged. So, as the trio of kids manage to make their way outside, they notice Andre. There are a lot of people with A names in this series, like Andre and Audrey, and just Audrey and you know Adrian, and just dude, I need y'all to stop. I need y'all to stop with the A names. It's too much. Why do we have two people named Andre in this series? Too much. But they notice Andre, who is able to match pairings with people, with ice cream, and this, that, and the other. They end up asking Marinette to choose a flavor combination, which kind of took me off guard because there was even a combination of Kagami and Marinette, which was just like, was he trying to pair them up? Has he been reading my fan fictions? But she ultimately, kind of in a moment of self-sacrifice, noticing that Kagami and Adrian seem to have this close bond, she kind of lets it go. She chooses a pairing of the two of them and ultimately decides to leave. But as she's making her way home, she does notice Heart Hunter rampaging throughout the streets. So she transforms. Also, can I comment on how good this episode is in terms of just texturing? Usually they lower certain textures in order to you know, increase how fast they can get it out because render time, the more beautiful something looks with more textures, gloss, shine, and stuff like that, the harder it is to get it out, really quickly, the more render time it takes. But with this, man, they went all out. There's everything so shiny and the animation so well done in a lot of areas. Like, bravo to the team here. However, Hawkmoth notices that Mayuri and Hawkmoth being out and about, that is some end of season stuff. He's out and about and he knows that Mayuri is suffering because of the damage done to the Peacock Miraculous, but Mayuri is determined to see this through with Hawkmoth. So as Ladybug Ladybug engages with Heart Hunter, they know that with her being overwhelmed by such a powerful monster, she will eventually go searching out the Guardian of the Miraculous. And so Ladybug brings out her lucky charm, which is a token for the merry-go-round, leading her to Master Fu. But as she goes, Chloe notices her going by and she demands to have her miraculous. So Ladybug notices that Master Fu is at the merry-go-round, but she also notices that Mayuri is spying on her. So she leads Mayuri away and heads back, only to see Kagami and Adrian getting slowly closer and closer together. So as she heads off being distracted by all of this, she doesn't notice that she's being followed by Hawkmoth and doesn't even transform back into her regular form before she meets up with Master Fu. Now this would have gotten her seen by Hawkmoth, leading to a whole nother bit of trouble, but it's still trouble nonetheless, as Master Fu offers her one of the miraculous. And instead of actually letting Chloe deal with this, because it is Chloe's parents, shouldn't she, despite everything, she should be the one to help them out in this situation. But in a moment of weakness, Ladybug chooses Kagami in order to get her away from Adrian. And as she leaves, this leaves Master Fu prone to Hawkmoth. And right before Kagami can go in for the kiss, she's snatched away by Ladybug. And as Ladybug transforms back into Marinette, she hands back the Dragon Miraculous over to Kagami, and they have a bit of a heart to heart in the fact that Ladybug was just like, well, you're going after a pretty popular guy. Aren't you worried about his legion of fans? And Kagami notes that the only thing she's worried about is Marinette, who she knows has a close crush on Adrian, but ultimately what she feels is stronger than friendship, so she's still going for it. And so, as Master Fu ends up being overpowered by Hawkmoth, who demands to know the identity of Ladybug and Cat Noir, and demands to some other stuff from Master Fu that I wasn't paying attention to. I think it's just their identities. But we see for the first time Master Fu power up into the Jade Turtle. And while at first he manages to overpower Hawkmoth, well, hold off Hawkmoth, but also kind of taunting him about the fact that Hawkmoth hasn't really accomplished much. He has yet to really gain any headway with the Miraculous. Unfortunately, Master Fu ends up being overpowered by the combined forces of both Mayuri and Hawkmoth himself. Meanwhile, Chloe grows even more angry and dejected as she sees that Ladybug chose someone else over her, despite the fact that those are her parents. And so, as Cat Noir meets up with Ryuko, it was Ryuko, right? Ryuko, yeah, Ryuko and Ladybug, and they engage in battle. Cat Noir starts to notice that, Ladybug notices that Cat Noir isn't calling her by his pet name for her. And Cat Noir picks up that Ladybug seems to be a little jealous of the fact that Cat Noir is flirting so much with Ryuko. Meanwhile, Hawkmoth makes his plan known. He's used all of this in order to approach Chloe, saying, hey, she passed you up for someone else, despite the fact that they're your parents. Don't you feel that you've been slighted, dejected by Ladybug, constantly passing you over, feeling you're unfit? So he offers her the Bee Miraculous, and despite her misgivings, she does want to prove Ladybug wrong. She does want to get back at Ladybug. And she completely puts down Pollen, demanding to be transformed. And so while Ladybug brings out yet another lucky charm, namely a rolling pin, the monster is deakumatized, and while the bourgeois are safe, they question why Hawkmoth would undo the akumatization, only for us to find that this was part of the deal. As a show of good faith, Hawkmoth has given back Chloe her parents, and he decides that he will give Queen Bee even more power as the miraculous queen, giving her power over all, and I mean all, um, miraculous wielders under Hawkmoth's control, with him only requesting, and Chloe is fully behind this. All Hawkmoth wants is Ladybug and Cat Noir's Miraculous, which she will freely give to him after she has crushed them. And so Kagami gives back over the Miraculous, and unfortunately, Marinette realizes too late that she led Hawkmoth right to Master Fu. And as Kagami confesses her love to Adrien, Marinette ends up meeting up with Luca, and she breaks down over the fact that she has just had so much responsibility, so much to do, so much time hiding her true self from so many people. It's just become too much. And Luca says, you can tell me all about it, or you can just tell me nothing. He just wants to be there for her. And so our episode ends with the people we were hoping wouldn't grow close, growing so much closer. But maybe this is something you hoped would happen. Are you in the camp of Adrien and Kagami, Luca and Marinette, Queen Bee, and Hawkmoth? This is something that I kind of felt was coming for a long time. That Chloe was constantly not growing from her experiences and just turning darker and darker. She wasn't becoming a better person despite all the lessons that she learned. She was just continuing down this dark path, and this just feels like the natural progressions of things. But I'm also glad to see the whole situation of the two alternate couples coming to a head. Because this was always something that had needed to happen. Because it's been teased so much that it's just like, yes, please, just answer this, resolve this, let us see where this goes, and whether or not it will end up being something we see go further into season 4. But tell me your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. What's your favorite pairing? How did you feel about Chloe's turn to the dark side? Do you feel that this was only a matter of time, or were you actually shocked that she chose this dark path? Feelings, questions, comments, all in the comment section below. Leave me a like if you like this video. Subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see more. And join me next time for the finale of Season 3 of Miraculous Ladybug. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'll see you in the next video. Bug out!